Please be seated. Honorable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, I think it is appropriate that when we look at this bill, we should look at the context that this bill has been brought to the House. Just to remind, refresh minds, some MPs might have forgotten. There was a request in December 2023 to give a 14-month bonus to all. The MSM refused at the time. They probably thought they're going to win the election anyway. Maybe. You were not there at the time. The Minister of Labor went further. He said, in any case, we can't do it. We need consultations. Good. However, just 1 week before the election, suddenly, I suppose the former Prime Minister felt the ground shaking under his feet. He saw the tsunami coming. In desperation, he announced the 14-month bonus, 1 week before the election. The Minister of Labor, who had said we can't do it, we need consultations, had no choice. L'empereur avait décidé qu'il fallait gagner les élections à tout prix. He was given his marching orders, and he just did it. Advice was sought from the SLO. The SLO said it was illegal. L'empereur avait décidé. So the Minister of Labor, no. In that cabinet, it's not like the cabinet today. We have discussions in cabinet today. There, no. L'empereur décide, tout le monde dit oui. L'impératrice. And it was that decision was immediately challenged by Business Mauritius by way of judicial review. And just to remind members, what did we say at the time when we were in opposition? We were saying that the minister had acted illegally, but we added, they are in government, they know the figures, as you pointed out, they had all the figures, economic figures. Surely they know that they can pay the 14 months. If they can pay, so can we. But they won't be there. We will be there. That is what we said, Madam Speaker. And we know the results, a crushing defeat. Honorable Adjournment Juval, and also the leader of the opposition, said we won because of that promise of 14 months. They don't seem to realize the illogical reasoning behind this. Because you were in government, you had promised the 14 months, why didn't you win the election then? You should have won. If that is what Honorable Adil Amya, who is not here today, unfortunately, he's abroad, he gave you the reasons, some of the reasons, why people decided to boot you out. They were fed up. They wanted liberty. They wanted unity, not division. And that is why the corruption, the nepotism, all this, the reason where you are today in the dustbin of history. This is the reason. And we suspected during the campaign, myself and the Deputy Prime Minister also, we kept saying, we don't believe the macroeconomic indicators that they're giving us. Surely they're being manipulated. But no one, neither me nor the Deputy Prime Minister, nor anybody else, I think, had an idea of how much they massaged the figures, the extent. I heard Honorable Adjournment Juval say, Padiatri's reputation, I think you said, should be given a chance or whatever. And he hasn't answered the question, right? But, and you spoke about the director of audit. I remind you, Your father, when he was in the opposition, criticized the government for having failed to give the director of audit his whatever he was asking for. And it is in the report of the director of audit. He complained for the first time in Mauritius, a director of audit, having a constitutional post, as you said, was not given access to papers that they wanted to have access to. You can ask him. This is how they manage the economy. And also, the head of statistics of Mauritius at the time, he's here today. He was asked, he didn't agree with the figures. He said the figures are being manipulated. You know what he was told? You give the figures we're telling you, otherwise we'll boot you out. And being a professional, being a man of courage, of integrity, he said, I prefer to lose my job, but I will not manipulate figures, economic figures. And he resigned. This is what happened. We have evidence of the IMF writing to the minister and saying, please stop bullying our staff. All this is there. This is what happened. Unfortunately, they falsified the macroeconomic figures. Not by 1 billion, 2 billion, by a lot. Unbelievable, the percentage. They dilapidated the finances of this country. They acted, as the Deputy Prime Minister said, they acted criminally. They should be held to account for this. We shouldn't just pass over it as if nothing has happened, everything is going to go on forever. La rupture veut dire aussi ça. Not only they destroyed the economy, Madam Speaker, they destroyed our reputation. You know what happens when institutions are forced to act illegally? You destroy the reputation of the institutions. You don't have credible institutions. You become what we call a rogue state, an état voyou. This is what happened under the previous government. And let me remind you, the economic situation, as we did, as I produced this State of the Economy report on the 10th of December. I must say, and the Deputy Prime Minister, we work very closely. He said this last time. The more we dig, the more we are finding. And it's worse. And just look at some of the economic figures. I won't go through the whole list, Madam Speaker, it would be too long a speech. But nominal GDP reduced by 36 billion rupees. The forecast, 36 billion rupees. The growth rate declining. It was 21.9% when I left government. It's 18.5% now. Investment rate declining. It was 21.9%. It has also gone down. And we know when there's no investment, there is low growth, you increase unemployment, you increase the pressure on the economy. The rupee has depreciated by 46% over 10 years. 46%. Inflation has surged. And you know what they were doing? They just printed money. What do you want? 10 million? Okay, I'll give you 10 million. This is how they manage the economy. Cumulative inflation for 2022 to 2024 was 23%. Now, don't tell me about COVID, this and that. Seychelles, our neighbor, smaller than us, next to us, cumulative inflation, ours was 23%, theirs 2.4%. How do you explain this big difference? And we know, Madam Speaker, that the poor, they spend more of their money on food. Why? Because you have to eat. There is no choice. You have to eat and you have to drink water. The cumulative food price inflation for that same period, while inflation was 23%, it was 33%. That is why during the campaign, people were complaining about the price of basic food items. It was impossible for them to buy what they wanted to buy. Even middle-class people were complaining. I know of people who told me they were embarrassed. Go to the supermarket, push their caddies. When payment time came, they realized they don't have enough money. They have to return some of the items back on the shelves. Same for the budget deficit. They said it was going to be 3.4%. But in fact, it is 6.7%. Nearly double. Nearly double. Revenue again was overestimated by 13.8 billion rupees. And public debt, Madam Speaker, June 2024, probably worse after that, 83.4%. The result with, I heard the former Prime Minister say, I'm looking after babies even before they're born in their mother's tummy. He was, because he put a debt of 500,000 rupees on every baby that was born in this country, as soon as they're born. And then add to this, politique de vengeance, Betamax, BI, Newtown cases. It cost the taxpayer so far, I believe there's more to come, 26.9 billion rupees. And there's still some legal costs to pay. We'll have to find the money. The special funds, all depleted, all of them. The Metro Express, the Deputy Prime Minister explained that very well the other day. It has a debt of 17 billion rupees. It has lost 3 billion rupees on foreign exchange. 17 billion. The same with the STC. You spoke about we have reduced the price of petrol and l'essence et diesel. But the deficit of the STC is 5.6 billion rupees. And they destroyed a contract that I negotiated with the Prime Minister of India at the time, Dr. Manmohan Singh, so that we could get our petrol from Mangalore at a lower price, and I had cut out all the middlemen. They broke that contract. They claimed to be great friends of India, but they broke the contract with India. Why? They wanted to buy again from the Middle East, so that they can have middlemen, so that they can take bribes. Kunche. That's what they did. And that is why we are paying the price we are paying. Yeah. Wastewater Management Authority, same thing. 2.2 billion in arrears, and they have an outstanding loan of 3.5 billion rupees. I don't want to go to the list. CBA, CEB, CWA, Gazino de Maurice, Mauritius Post Limited, all of these, SBM, MIC, you're seeing what is happening to the MIC. CSG, wiped out, pension for workers, wiped out. We need to find 9 billion rupees to pay the pension of the workers. Air Mauritius, same thing, destroyed. Now government will have to step in if we want to save Air Mauritius. And it is with this background that you must understand we had no other choices. In fact, institutions like Moody's were saying, even at the time, that even if you don't do anything, you're likely to be downgraded. It looks like you're in that fear, the country is together with you, that you're likely, we are rated now Baa3 at the moment, but you're likely to be degraded even before we did anything, with no policy change. In this context, we had to make choices. We had to decide, what do we want to do? I chose transparency, put the cards on, let the people know how these people have destroyed the economy, have mismanaged anything, and we are going to pay the consequences now. The whole nation. And degrading by Moody's Madam Speaker, I suppose some people don't realize what it means. It means the country gets junk bond status. That means it is classified as a country that would probably default on its debt. Probably. And if a country, if it degrades by Moody's, it damages our reputation, it damages our credibility, it becomes more expensive to borrow from abroad if you get the loan. Many countries don't want to loan to a country that is likely, that is probably going to default. Rates will go up, and investors never invest in a country with junk box status. Therefore, what's going to happen? FDI is already on a decreasing trend. It will keep going down. And again, I say, no investment, no growth, and the economic cake shrinks even further. It is in this context, Madam Speaker, that this bill was brought, because we had to make a policy choice. And it is a package, as the Deputy Prime Minister explained, and also the Minister for Labour explained. It is a package. We did the maximum that we thought we can to prevent a downgrade as far as possible. On ne peut pas donner de l'argent qu'on n'a pas. C'est aussi simple que ça. We must start, it's essential that we act responsibly, that we are credible. We have to bring down debt. We have to bring down the deficit. And we have to show that we will bring structural reform. We have to show. Otherwise, the consequences will be terrible for us. It is obvious, so obvious then, in those circumstances, there's no way we could pay the whole 14 months to everybody. There's no way. Either we are responsible or we are not responsible. And remember, Moody's is an international agency. They do their work as professionals. Look what happened in France. President Macron just named a new prime minister, François Bayrou. As soon as it was named, I think the next day, Moody's degraded France with all the consequences that it's going to have. Therefore, there's a harsh reality to economics. Whether we like it or not, we can say, give this, give that, give that. There is a reality that we have to face. And we have to minimize, we had to minimize that risk. This is why there was a cutoff point, members of the opposition. This is why we had to have. And we chose 50,000 rupees. There was demand for 30,000 rupees. There were also demands for not giving anything. But we decided to give 50,000 rupees because 420,000 employees, both in the public and private, that is 90% of the total employees in this country are going to get it. 9 out of 10. We had to have this cutoff point, otherwise it would have been terrible. One trade unionist, I spoke to him afterward, he was misled. He thought that public officers in government service are not going to get it. It's not true. We didn't put it, neither for the municipal workers, parastitial. We didn't put it in the bill because I think the Honorable Minister for Labour explained it very well. There's no need for an amendment in the law because it is governed by PRB. There's no need. It's done by circular. And it's already been done, by the way. But as I say, it was a package. Not just the 14-month bonus. We also gave the 1-month allowance to every pensioner, widows, orphans, disabled person, plus a salary compensation based on the figures of inflation that we have officially at the time, because it's for the year, 610 rupees. That is the inflation rate. You multiply it by the minimum wage. And as I said, for the price of petrol, we had to do this. But again, if you look at the context, who is the responsible person who is not a demagogue could say that we could have done more? It must be bad faith. If you say so, it must be bad faith. I want to thank the junior minister, Kugan Parapen, for suggesting that we pay it in two tranches, deux tranches. It is helpful in three ways. First of all, you know, when humans are humans, they get a lot of more money they will spend during the festive time, festive season. This is the temptation. And then what happens is you get more money in circulation, inflation goes up, and there's more pressure on the rupee. Secondly, many families, after January, after having spent their money, they have no money to buy books, whatever they need in January. And making payments in installments also produce a relief for employers on their cash flows. That also helps, especially for the small and medium enterprises. Madam Speaker, as the Deputy Prime Minister rightly said, we must look at the horizon, not at the tip of our nose. It's the horizon that we have to look at. We have three objectives essential: réduire la dette, réduire le déficit budgétaire, et redémarrer l'économie. We have no choice. And it's not going to be easy. I never said it's going to be easy. Nobody is saying it's going to be easy. We don't have a magic wand that we can create a new society out of this mess. There are no easy fixes. But fortunately, we have a team who are competent and determined to put this country back on the rails. We have been working, myself and the Deputy Prime Minister especially, we have been working round the clock. We had two issues that we had to settle: the 14-month petrol prices, les salariés, compensation, plus negotiation for Chagos at the same time. And there is in the UK especially, they want to do it before President Trump swears in as president, which is the 20th of January. But we work as a team, and I must tell you something. You know, we said this during the campaign. You need a team that has experience at this juncture in the country. You need that experience that I have, that the Deputy Prime Minister have, that all these ministers have. We need the experience to be able to tackle this problem. Otherwise, we will never be able to lift this country out of the precipice it has fallen into. I would like also to thank Minister Ashok Subon. His contribution has been very significant in all these discussions we had. He has pointed out to things that maybe could have had escaped our attention. This is why I need to thank him for his contribution for what he has done here. And as I said, Madam Speaker, we are lucky that the people have voted them out, this bunch of voyous, and we have the team that we need to be able to weather this economy, as I said. We are determined to turn this economy around. We're going to be transparent in our policies. We are working with a commitment, not for us, but for the future generations, for the young of this country. We need to put this country back on its rail for the next generation, because they are the future of this country. And more importantly, I can guarantee to the House that we will act responsibly. We must rehabilitate our institutions. We have started doing this. We must get rid of those people. I hesitate to use the word chatwas, but there are chatwas in all the institutions. This is what the problem is. When you weaken an institution in a country, you're weakening the whole country. And this is what has been happening. We must regain our credibility, and we must regain our reputation. Not easy after the destruction that Mr. Padiachi and Mr. Pravin Jagannath has inflicted upon our country. But I'm confident that we have the team to succeed. It will be difficult, but we will succeed. Let me end, Madam Speaker, by congratulating the Honorable Minister of Labour, Minister Reza Uteem. He took a difficult task, short time, very short time. He had to deal with all the problems that he had to deal with. It's a complex issue. But he acted in a determined manner, and I must say in a very loyally manner. Thank you. And thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honourable Minister of Labour, your winding up speech, please.
Madame la Présidente, permettez-moi avant tout de remercier tous les honorables membres des deux côtés de la Chambre qui ont participé dans le débat de ce projet de loi. Je m'associe à mes collègues pour féliciter les nouveaux parlementaires pour leur baptême de feu. Je n'utiliserai pas maiden speech. Je ne vais certainement pas répéter tout ce que l'honorable Premier ministre vient de dire brillamment en résumant la position du gouvernement sur ce projet de loi. Je vais me contenter d'essayer de répondre plutôt aux attaques et critiques formulées par les membres de l'opposition avant d'apporter une ou deux éclaircissements suite à des réactions et des remarques et des commentaires que j'ai reçus après la présentation de ce projet de loi. Je crois comprendre que les deux honorables membres de l'opposition ne sont pas contre ce projet de loi. Mais leur seul argument, c'est qu'on aurait dû payer à tout le monde et pas que à les personnes qui ont moins de 50 000 roupies. Or, quand on parle de pérennité, là, il y a divergence. D'un côté, on a l'honorable leader de l'opposition qui vient essayer de donner la pérennité de ce projet de loi à son leader, le leader de l'EPEP, et bien parler d'une promesse électorale. Et on a son collègue qui formait partie de cette alliance électorale l'EPEP, qui, lui, tire tous les draps sur lui et vient dire que non, c'était le PMSD. En vérité, Madame la Présidente, comme l'a souligné l'honorable Premier ministre, effectivement, quand le PMSD était en alliance avec le Parti travailliste et le MMM, l'année dernière, le leader de l'opposition d'alors était venu avec un PNQ. Et c'est bon pour les membres de la Chambre qui n'étaient pas là de rappeler qu'est-ce qui était le libellé de ce PNQ. Donc, il s'adresse au ministre du Travail. Whether in regard to the rise in cost of living over calendar years 22-23, he will state if government proposes to legislate for the payment of a 14th-month bonus in December 2023 to all employees of the private and public sectors earning less than 50,000 rupees. C'est ça. Earning all employees of the private and public sector earning less than 50,000 rupees while providing for a mechanism to assist those employers facing financial difficulties. That was the position of the opposition, acting always responsibly. On n'a pas la connaissance des chiffres, nous, mais au moins on avait dit que pour ceux qui ont déjà été affectés par la cherté de la vie, pour ceux qui se trouvent au bas de l'échelle, pour les retraités, pour les travailleurs qui ont moins de 50 000 roupies, au moins ces gens-là, donnez-leur ce 14e mois. Et c'était quoi la réaction du gouvernement Jagnat, du gouvernement MSM? Je vous lis la réponse de l'honorable Kalitchen. Mr. Speaker, sir, in order to consider the payment of a 14th-month bonus, we will have to hold wide consultation with different stakeholders to ensure its sustainability, as we have always been doing for salary compensation and minimum wage. Et il continue parce que le leader de l'opposition d'alors persiste. Les entreprises ont les moyens de payer. Les mêmes arguments qu'on vient d'entendre de la part du fils, excusez-moi, de l'honorable Adrien Duval. Mais l'honorable leader de l'opposition disait le contraire. Il disait, mais vous avez tous les moyens. Et là, le gouvernement dont faisait partie l'honorable leader de l'opposition, qu'est-ce qu'il vient de répondre? We cannot decide without holding consultations on whether we will introduce a 14th month bonus for the workers or not. We have given enough consideration by giving additional income support for the working class of this country to support them and counter the loss in purchasing power. Donc, ils n'avaient pas l'intention. Ils n'avaient pas l'intention de donner ce 14e mois. Donc, ne venez pas aujourd'hui, monsieur l'honorable leader de l'opposition, et venir dire que c'est grâce à vous, à votre gouvernement, que les gens de ce pays vont avoir un 14e mois. Madame la Présidente, les deux membres de l'opposition ont parlé de promesses électorales gagnantes. Vous, quand vous étiez au gouvernement, dans votre budget, vous n'aviez pas prévu de payer un 14e mois l'année dernière. Quand vous avez fait votre programme électoral, après l'annonce des élections. Je me souviens très bien de la date, c'était le 23 octobre 2024, où vous annonciez en fanfare les 17 mesures phares de l'Alliance des PEP. Vous n'avez pas parlé de 14e mois. C'est comme l'a bien fait souligner l'honorable Premier ministre, when you found that the soil was shaking under your feet. Comme l'honorable Parapen a dit, mes yeux désespérés d'un Premier ministre désespéré, sachant qu'il allait perdre les élections. C'est là que vous êtes venu avec cette idée de payer un 14e mois. Mais le peuple ne vous a pas voté. Vous êtes venu avec la proposition d'un 14e mois. Mais le peuple n'a pas voté pour vous. Pourquoi? Le peuple a voté pour le changement. Et ça veut dire quoi, changement? Changement, ça veut dire être transparent. Ça veut dire la vérité aux gens. Ça veut dire ne pas mentir, de leur expliquer l'état de l'économie. Parce qu'il ne faut pas insulter l'intelligence des Mauriciens. Les Mauriciens sont responsables. Les Mauriciens et Mauriciennes, ils sont responsables. Elles savent que si le pays doit choisir entre un dividende politique de court terme ou hypothéquer l'avenir de leurs enfants, ils vont toujours choisir le bien-être de leurs enfants et le bien-être du pays. Madame la Présidente, maintenant je vais parler pourquoi on a limité à 50 000 roupies. Le chiffre 50 000 roupies n'est pas tombé des nues. Ce n'est pas un chiffre qu'on a décidé un jour qu'on va donner. C'est par rapport à la définition de worker. On a dans le Workers' Rights Act une définition de travailleur, de worker, qui définit le travailleur mauricien comme celui qui touche moins de 600 000 roupies, enfin un salaire n'excédant pas 600 000 roupies par an. Et 600 000 roupies, quand vous divisez par 12, ça vous fait 50 000 roupies par mois. C'est la raison pourquoi on a utilisé ce chiffre de 50 000. Ce n'était pas arbitraire. C'est pour être en ligne avec les dispositions de la loi. Mais je suis d'accord, j'ai entendu ce que les syndicalistes m'ont dit, j'ai entendu les réactions. Il est temps de probablement rectifier ça, d'amender, parce qu'avec l'augmentation de vie, avec toutes les compensations salariales, aujourd'hui, ce montant de 50 000 roupies doit être augmenté pour couvrir d'autres travailleurs. Mais ça, on le fera en cours d'année, quand on va avoir une réforme complète du droit du travail. Mais pour l'instant, on s'est contenté de nous aligner sur la définition de worker sous le Workers' Rights Act. Autre chose soulevée par l'honorable leader de l'opposition concerne la punition de 5 000 roupies pour une infraction à ce projet de loi. Effectivement, quand on voit en isolation 5 000 roupies, on peut trouver ça pas assez sévère. Mais à Maurice, il y a une théorie, il y a un principe de droit de la relativité, proportionnalité. On ne peut pas aujourd'hui prévoir dans une loi une sanction pour une infraction qui est plus lourde que la même sanction pour une même infraction dans une autre loi. Et malheureusement, on a déjà une autre loi qui prévoit le paiement du 13e mois, le End of Year Gratuity Act, et sous la disposition du End of Year Gratuity Act, la punition maximum pour une infraction, c'est 5 000 roupies. Donc c'est à cause de ça que dans ce projet de loi, on s'est aligné à ce qui est prévu dans le End of Year Gratuity Act et on a limité l'amende à 5 000 roupies, mais c'est 5 000 roupies par infraction. Pas effraction et pas employé. Donc ça peut être beaucoup plus que 5 000 roupies dans la pratique. Et finalement, il y a quelque chose il y a une section de la loi qui a posé qui a soulevé beaucoup de questions. C'est la clause 8 du projet de loi qui concerne les entreprises qui bénéficieraient d'une aide du gouvernement, ces entreprises qui ne peuvent pas payer les 14e mois ou qu'après le paiement du 14e mois, cela aura une incidence importante sur leur bilan financier. Donc, dans la loi, on prévoit les entreprises en difficulté, on prévoit les SME. Donc, on a eu des questions pour dire, quitte des institutions charitables, des religious bodies, des sports clubs, tous, ils m'ont dit, ce n'est pas couvert par la loi. Au fait, non. On a eu des sessions de travail avec les responsables du ministère des Finances et de la MRA, et ce sont eux qui nous ont dit qu'au lieu d'essayer de mettre toutes les personnes, toutes les entreprises, toutes les associations, tous les NGOs qui puissent bénéficier de cette aide, de le faire par voie de réglementation, regulation. C'est pourquoi vous allez voir dans la clause 8, il y a une disposition qui prévoit que le ministre des Finances, en collaboration avec le MRA, va venir avec des règlements, des regulations, pour dire quelles sont les institutions, quelles sont les ONG, les charitable institutions qui pourront aussi bénéficier de cette aide financière. Avant de m'asseoir, laissez-moi aussi, Madame la Présidente, remercier tout le personnel de mon ministère qui ont vraiment travaillé d'arrache-pied pour ce projet de loi. Je sais que c'est de même au niveau du ministère des Finances et du bureau de l'Attorney General, parce que je dois vous dire que même le jour qu'on présentait ce projet de loi, on était encore en train de faire des ajustements pour venir avec une loi, parce qu'on a travaillé sous pression. Et je remercie tout le monde parce que je pense qu'on a fait un bon travail dans le temps imparti à nous. Et finalement, je conclurai en vous souhaitant à vous, Madame la Présidente, à tous les membres du personnel, à mes collègues, membres du Parlement et à la population, une joyeuse fête de fin d'année, joyeux Noël et bonne année. Merci.
Don't forget, you have to commend the bill to the House.
Yes, with this vote, I commend the bill to the House.
And I need someone to second. Yes, Mr. Bhagwan. Thank you, everybody. The question is that the Special Allowance Bill, number 20 of 2024, be read the second time. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it.
Public Bill Committee stage. Clause 1, short title.
The question is that Clause 1 stands part of the bill. Those in favour say aye, those against say no.
Clause 2, interpretation.
Move for Clause 2 to be amended in terms of amended circulated.
The question is that Clause 2 be amended as per amendments circulated. Those in favour say aye, those against say no. The question is that Clause 2, as amended, stands part of the bill. Those in favour say aye, those against say no.
Clause 3, payment of a special allowance. Clause 4, powers of authorized officers. Clause 5, jurisdiction. Clause 6, offences. Clause 7, regulations.
The question is that Clauses 3 to 7 stand part of the bill. Those in favour say aye, those against say no.
Clause 8, consequential amendments.
Madam Speaker, I move for Clause 8 to be amended in terms of amendments circulated.
Yes? Yes? The question is that Clause 8 be amended as per amendment circulated. Those in favour say aye, those against say no. The ayes have it. The question is that Clause 8 as amended stands part of the bill. Those in favour say aye and those against say no.
Title and enacting clause.
Question is that the title and enacting clause stand part of the bill. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. The question is that I do report to the House that the Special Allowance Bill number 20 of 2024 has passed the committee stage with amendments. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Honourable members, I have to report to the House that the Special Allowance Bill number 20 of 2024 has passed the committee stage with amendments.
Public Bill, third reading.
Madam Speaker, I move that the Special Allowance Bill number 20 of 2024 be read a third time and pass.
Yes, who seconds the motion? Mr. Bhagwan. The question is that the Special Allowance Bill number 20 of 2024 be read the third time and passed. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. Aye. Yes. Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, with your permission, before I move for the adjournment of the House, I would like to present to you, to your family, to the honourable members of the House, the staff of the National Assembly, and to the police officers who work here. I will present the season's greetings to all of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. May I kindly request you on behalf of the opposition and in my personal name to present season's greeting first to His Excellency, the newly elected President of the Republic, and Mrs. Gokul and their family, to the newly elected Vice President, Mrs. Angle and their family, to the Honourable Prime Minister and Mrs. Ramgoolam, to the Deputy Prime Minister, to all ministers and to all members of Parliament. I am also pleased to extend my best wishes for a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to the acting clerk, the two clerk assistants, the attendants who are always attending upon us, to the Sergeant-at-Arms and his officers, to all civil servants, Madam Speaker, who are involved and work in the precincts of the National Assembly. And to end, Madam Speaker, may I wish everyone, the country at large, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honourable members, I wish to associate myself with the season's greeting extended by Dr. the Honourable Prime Minister and the Honourable Leader of the Opposition to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Mauritius and Mrs. Gokul, to His Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Mauritius and Mrs. Angle. I'm pleased to convey the season's greetings to them. In my own name, and on behalf of the officers of the National Assembly, I thank Dr. the Honourable Prime Minister and Honourable Leader of the Opposition for their kind words and warm wishes, and extend my best wishes for Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year 2025 to Dr. the Honourable Prime Minister and Mrs. Ramgoolam, the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and his family, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition and his family, as well as to all Honourable members and their families. This is a time for rejoicing, and I wish each Mauritian the very, very best for the coming year.
Madam
Yes.
Speaker, I beg to move for the adjournment of the House to Friday, the 24th of January at 3 o'clock. 3 p.m.
Okay. The question is that the House be adjourned to Friday, the 24th of January at 3 p.m., 2025, of course, at 3 p.m. Those in favor say aye, those against say no. The House stands adjourned.